everyone. Welcome to the Mish Mash Entertainment Podcast. This week we have Matthew.
Miki.
And Nathan.
Nothing funny happened before we started recording at all.
Definitely did not smash my headphones against my face. Oh my god. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think this week...
Sorry.
This week, we're pre-recording the podcast like we usually do, but we're going to release it sooner than usual. This one will be released over Extra Life. So if you're listening to this podcast and it is November 4th in 2017, you should stop watching or, move over to Twitch.
Yeah.
RT_Nova Scotia and watch our Extra Life stream. Yeah. Or you could wait until the end of the podcast. That's okay too. It's a 25-hour stream.
Yeah, and it depends. Maybe you're up at like 3 o'clock in the morning if this gets released that early, and then you wanna wait until it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning Atlantic Standard Time. That's a good
10
time.
a.m. Central.
10 a.m. Central. That's probably a better way to do it.
Yep, but that's okay. So this week we're going to talk about television shows.
Hooray, TV.
Yay! Something recently came out, and I really want to watch it. I borrowed somebody else's Netflix so I could watch it.
Nice.
And I haven't started watching it yet, and it's been out for 2 days.
It came out yesterday.
Yesterday
morning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't watched any of it yet. I haven't even clicked on it, and I really want to.
Yes.
And that's Stranger Things Season 2.
It's good. It's good. I've got to episode 4. I don't want to spoil anything because we've got 2 people here who haven't started watching it yet. Plus, we don't know. It's only going to be 2 weeks since it came out. People might not have gotten around to watching it. I feel like that's a reasonable amount of time not to spoil things. 2 weeks,
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. I just haven't really had time. I really loved the first season, but...
It also came out yesterday, so if you worked or if you just had things to do.
Yeah.
I'm a loser with no life, so...
Well, yesterday was a PD day, so there was no school.
Yeah.
But I was still busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Nathan there is a substitute teacher.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
So PD days still matter.
Yeah.
PD days mean a day off for me. Unpaid, but a day off.
But a day off, nonetheless. So I've been watching a TV show. I started watching anime again.
Yeah.
I haven't watched anime in a long time, but I started watching a bunch of different stuff, a bunch of new stuff, and I hate watching new things now. I used to watch new things all the time, so I'd have to wait every week for a new episode. I didn't do that for many years, and I've started to do it again, and it's killing me inside. There's this really popular series that started called The Ancient Magus' Bride.
Okay.
It's... I don't really know how to explain it. I don't really truly know what it's about, aside from this wizard guy, who isn't a guy. He's like a skeleton.
Okay.
Dressed as a guy. He's like super old, thus ancient. And he buys this girl who decided that her life just wasn't worth anything anymore. She was going to kill herself anyway. Why not sell herself?
Because that could lead to really awful things that are worse than that.
Yeah.
Maybe she could learn how good she had it before.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what her thought process on that was, but it happened anyway. He bought her and decided that he was going to make her his bride and his apprentice.
Things like that can happen to you if you decide to sell yourself. So
the good thing is he's not as creepy as some of the other people that were in the audience.
He still purchased someone to be his bride.
Yeah,
so
that's part of the joke with his friends.
Okay.
Because he takes her to his friends' places to get things that she'll need and to introduce them. And one of them is like, "You bought her? What do you mean? You purchased a human?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean? That's totally okay." And the girl that he bought is just like not saying anything. She's super shy. And then the other person is just freaking out because that is absolutely not okay. And he's like, "Yeah, but she's special." And it's funny. It's supposed to be dramatic. It kind of is dramatic. I think it's supposed to be a shonen, which means it's targeted towards males.
Yep, young males. Specifically.
Yeah.
Because
young
it's
males.
seinen is like 18.
Seinen is like for guys in their like 30s, 40s.
Yeah. So it's older dude anime.
Yeah, older dude anime. But it's been a really good show. There's only 3 episodes out for it so far. The next one comes out on Sunday, which is tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that.
Cool. Okay.
And I also started watching another one. It's bad that I don't remember what it's called already. I just watched all 3 episodes yesterday.
Depends. Does it have like a crazy Japanese name that you could never remember?
No, it's called The Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Oh.
So this girl quits her job, and I don't know why she quit her job, but now she's a full-time NEET. She's an elite NEET. It's pretty funny. And she starts playing this MMO, obviously, but she plays it day in, day out. She only leaves her little apartment to buy food. And I don't know what the recovery part is. We're only 3 episodes in, but I'm not really sure either what the pull of this anime is, but I just keep watching.
Is this another one of these things where the character, despite not taking care of themselves and being inside all the time, is either unreasonably attractive or at least reasonably attractive and not a fat, disgusting slob like people who do stuff like that actually become?
She's not a fat, disgusting slob, but she's not pretty either.
Okay, so it's not one of those
She's
things.
got like 3 lines for eyebrows.
Okay.
Because in her eyes, they are unmanaged. So they're 3 lines on top of each other, like 1, 2, 3 above. And she also has like these super huge bags around her eyes. She looks like she's not slept in 8 years. Okay. And she never brushes her hair, so it's everywhere. Yeah. And she just kind of wears like a gray sweatshirt and sweatpants all the time. Okay. So it's not totally... She's not super pretty, but she's not like 400 pounds and eating Doritos and Mountain Dew.
I mean, fair enough. Some of the nerdy recluse people are also just like super skinny and stuff, but it's one of those things where
it's usually one way or the other.
Yeah, it's not usually like I haven't watched anime in a long time, but I have vague memories of this. It's these things where it's supposed to be self-insert for a lot of these animes. I don't know about this one in particular. Maybe they've gotten out of this phase with anime because I haven't watched in years, and this was part of the reason I got out. It's because you'd have these characters that are essentially blank slates. They don't really have a personality. Usually, if anything, they're kind of a nice person. And it's meant to be someone that you project your own personality onto. It's the same thing with Twilight. Just in case someone thinks this is a uniquely Japanese thing, it's not. It happens in like Western media all the time.
I feel like it's more so in Western media. That's how Death Note sort of came to be
as
the American released movie from Netflix.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it happens everywhere because it's self-insert stuff. Like, you may not consciously realize it, but when you think about the people in your shows, if you can't name 3 character traits to somebody, that's what that character is. If you like that character, it's because you're projecting things of yourself onto them. These characters don't have enough character to where you should have a strong feeling one way or the other, so you can just assume things about them, and you assume things you like about them. Right. A lot of times in these, particularly in anime and manga and stuff like this, they'll end up with unreasonably attractive people of the opposite gender that are attracted to them for no other reason other than the fact, usually, if it's a male character, other than the fact that they are nice. And I think this contributes to the nice guy problem.
Oh, we're not going into the nice guy problem. We will just leave that at that. Yeah. This anime probably is one of those, because, I mean, a lot of people that watch anime also play a lot of MMOs and spend a lot of their time in their room on their computer, late nights, stuff like that. But at the same time, there's only 3 episodes out, so it's really hard to stay still. I also recently finished another anime that I watched many years ago. It's called Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches. Yeah. And I'm trying to think if that would be a self-insert, but I don't think it is. No, he's really mean, for starters. But it's about this guy who goes to this high school where there are 7 girls in the school that have quote-unquote witch powers. Yeah. So if he who has the power to copy, for whatever reason, they don't explain the witch powers at all, really. If he were to kiss one of them, he would get the power to switch bodies, be invisible. There's the power to see their past, only traumatic events. You can't see happy pasts, and predict the future, things like that. It was really good. I still think it's one of the best anime opening and ending themes that I've seen in a very long time. The next being Arrow Manga Sensei, which I love, but that might be a little biased.
Fun fact, the only thing I like about Attack on Titan is their original opening theme.
It was a very good opening theme. Yeah. But I still think this one's better. Okay. But that's my opinion.
I watched recently this one called Assassination Classroom. Okay. Have you seen that?
No. If it's an anime, definitely not.
Yeah, okay. It's I watched the first season, and basically the story is absurd, but I really liked it. It's basically this creature destroys most of the moon, 70% of the moon, then lands back to Earth, and declares that he will destroy the Earth in 1 year's time if this junior high classroom full of students can't figure out a way how to kill him. And he's like, the whole big thing is that he moves at Mach 20, so his whole thing is that he moves so fast no one can kill him, right? But he says he's going to take over as the teacher of this kind of junior high misfits, like the lowest class in this one school. And he's like this amazing teacher. And he says basically he's going to give them a year to try to kill him. And if they don't, then he does to the Earth what he did to the Moon.
Just so I get, you said he destroyed the Moon, right?
He destroyed 70% of the Moon, so the Moon's constantly in a crescent shape. I know.
My brain has a problem with this, because if you destroyed 70% of the Moon, you would destroy most of the planet anyway, because tides. The tidal,
this is anime, so
it's a tidal pull. The Moon creates a bulge in the ocean, and that bulge moves towards the Moon. So while the Moon moves around the Earth, it moves this tidal bulge. If you destroyed 70% of the Moon, that would be most of that effect gone, and then you'd have flooding everywhere on all the coasts, and you'd kill most of the planet.
Yeah, but this is anime, so it's okay. There was another
doesn't real
crazy anime that it was made by the same studio that made Kill la Kill. If any of you guys have seen it,
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's pretty crazy. I wasn't a huge fan of this one or that one, Kill la Kill, but this one it's called Space Patrol Luluco.
Yeah.
And the episodes are only a disappointing 5 minutes long, but it's so funny. I had to watch it anyway.
Okay.
But it's about this girl and her dad. She wants to live the most normal life possible, but they live in the intergalactic sort of like immigration city on Earth. So everywhere else in the Earth is relatively normal, mostly all humans. But in this particular city, there's like aliens everywhere. Like being human isn't quote unquote normal in this town. There's so many other people. She just wants to be normal. Okay. She just wants to lead a normal life, go to school like a normal person, have a normal family, but her dad is intergalactic space police.
Okay.
And one day, they're eating breakfast, and he eats like a pill that instantly freezes his entire body. He's in an ice cube now. And so she has to take him to the Space Patrol, that's what they call it, Space Police, Space Patrol office, so they can defrost him. But she can't defrost him yet because that's very expensive, and she's in middle school and has no money. So she has to join the Space Patrol to get money to defrost her dad, who works for the Space Patrol. And it's just complete insanity. The animation is hilarious. There's so many colors. They turn into guns. So every member of the Space Patrol has this weird suit that's essentially installed on them. So anytime that they see something that defies the crime laws, there will be this big old light that pops up on top of their head, and then they'll turn into start wearing this suit just out of nowhere. So they don't have to change. It just appears on their body, and the rest of their clothes just fall off. It's weird. And then once they figure out who the enemy is, their body turns into a gun.
I'm so confused, but okay.
And then they can shoot the
Anime is weird, guys. It's really weird.
It's so funny, though.
I think it's gotten weirder since I stopped watching it. It was already weird.
I mean, the studio that did this, Trigger Studios, is pretty heckin' weird.
Yeah.
Kill la Kill is no exception to the weirdness.
No, it's got that weird, fucking gross schoolgirl in a bikini grossness thing. It's just a weird thing that digs into all of her bits. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. This makes me feel gross.
That's the fancy sailor school uniform.
Yeah. But
also a weapon, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
something
weird.
like that.
This is weird, but there's no nudity.
Yeah.
So that's...
Was there nudity? I watched part of the first episode. I didn't get far into it. I got to the point where she was wearing that thing. I was like, click, I'm done.
Yeah, there's an episode where they all go to a nudist beach.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yes. But this show, it reminded me a lot of another weird anime called Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt.
Yeah. I think you've talked about it before.
I have no idea.
I think you might have.
But it's equally as weird as Kill la Kill and Space Patrol Luluco. I feel like it's a spiritual successor to both of them. And it's some of my favorite.
Before Kill la Kill? By a couple of years?
Panty and Stocking came out before. Yeah. Kill la Kill came out. But Space Patrol Luluco is, I feel, the spiritual successor to both of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying now.
It's just so good. I think everybody should watch it.
Yeah.
It's super ridiculous. It only takes an hour.
The whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Right, because it's 5 minutes, right?
5-minute episodes,
Yeah,
and there's 13.
Right.
So I don't even think it would take an hour.
It's 65 minutes.
Oh, would it? I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yes.
I rewatched Tokyo Ghoul recently in preparation for the live-action movie. I watched the first season, and I had heard mediocre things about the second, so I didn't delve in because I never watched the second season. I just wanted to watch the first one, and then I never actually ended up seeing the live-action movie. But again, that was also kind of mixed, I hear, too.
I didn't know there was a live-action movie.
Tokyo Ghoul?
Yeah.
Yeah, just last week or the week before it came out, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very new.
I thought Tokyo Ghoul is a very mediocre series until I watched the second season, and at what point I was like, oh, it's a shit series. Gotcha.
I wasn't sure what you were going for. Yeah, because I didn't mind the first series too much, but yeah.
First series was, I watched it because one of my friends was super into it, and I was like, okay, I guess this is okay. I hate everything about the second season.
Okay.
There's no explanation as to why people get more powerful, but they just do continuously. There's the power skill just goes off the wall, and you're like, what's happening? Why is this happening?
I bet you it's 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats.
It's not even that. That's the problem. And it's not a comedy series. One Punch Man can get away with that shit because it's funny.
Yeah.
But Tokyo Ghoul's just like main character turned emo, and now he's super powerful, and then he'll encounter someone that's stronger than him up until he fights him the second time, in which case he's stronger now because he is. Because he's cool and everything.
Because he is?
That's the explanation you get, is he's just strong now. He eats other ghouls to gain power, I think, is what it is.
Oh, and also they put in the first season, they put the thing where half humans, half ghouls are more powerful for some reason.
Yeah.
Isn't that what he is? What's his name? Kaneki?
Yeah, I think Kaneki, yeah.
I just shook my head, I don't know.
I haven't actually watched the series, but I've seen a lot about it, and I just don't want to watch it.
I mean, to be fair, I also don't like Dragon Ball Z anymore. I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and I've tried to watch Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
And it's... the Toriyama doesn't know how to create interesting enemies. That's the problem. Cell was kind of interesting, but the problem is, and he doesn't know how to make interesting fights. There can't be a fight that the hero wins by being clever. The hero always wins because they have a secret, undeserved tap of power, or they get too angry and transform again beyond what there was previously possible, and then they can win. Name one fight where that does not happen, with the exception of Raditz, the first enemy. I guess they beat Vegeta that way as well, without unlocking another transformation or anything like that. But as soon as Toriyama got the idea of transformations, that is always the solution. It's either that, or they weren't fighting at 100%, or they got stronger through the course of a single fight, which shouldn't happen in bad writing.
Yeah, Goku will often be like, oh, I wasn't fighting 100%, because he's like, now I want a challenge or something.
Yeah. Or Frieza should have killed Goku immediately. But what happens? Toys with him up until Goku turns Super Saiyan, and then there's no point in that fight where Frieza is genuinely ahead and Goku's not just messing around. Like, he seems angry and serious, but anytime Frieza powers up, he's still able to beat him with seemingly no effort. I'm just like, and people love the Frieza fight and stuff like that, and I don't understand it anymore. I'm old, I'm cranky, and I hate everything.
You're an old man now.
Yeah, I feel bad because I don't like the fact that I hate so many things nowadays, but I do. And I'm sorry, Internet. I know I hurt your feelings and I don't like what you don't like. But it's just personal taste.
You're going to be that cranky old man that doesn't want people on his lawn.
Oh, I'm already that person if I had a lawn.
So how do you feel about... Did you watch Berserk?
No.
Okay, so basically, Guts in Berserk. Guts in Berserk, at least in like the Golden Age series, the popular one from like the 90s, he had a quote-unquote normal-sized sword. Still a huge sword. Yeah. But like in the manga... And in the new Berserk series that just started, he has this giant, it's called the Dragon Slayer sword. And it's literally just a slab of iron. I think it's like 6 feet long. Someone did the math, it'd be roughly around 400 or 500 pounds. And he's missing an arm. One of his arms is like a prosthetic metal arm. And he just swings it around with this like superhuman strength. And he's not like
Maybe that's because of his superhuman arm.
To be fair, if it makes sense in the world, if that's a thing that some people can do in the world, that's fine. But if he's
almost
the only
literally only him, other than like the gods and stuff.
Okay, that's silly.
But yeah, it's
there should be some sort of explanation as to why he's that strong.
well,
but
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I still like Final Fantasy VII story is also just impossible to follow and nonsense. But I still like Cloud when he's not being an emo guy, which he is in everything that's been released recently.
Yeah.
In the first one, he had a reason to be kind of down about a lot of things, but he wasn't emo. And now, for what reason, because he had a tragic story, now everything he does, he's an emo. He's a little emo boy that's like, the world is terrible, everything's dark and bad. I'm like, I don't do that.
I saw
of course,
one
he
of
hasn't
those,
been anything recently, but
right.
Yeah.
One of those YouTube shows where they make weapons from games and stuff. They did Cloud's Buster Sword, yeah, and it was like
Man-led arms.
They couldn't even lift it.
Yeah.
They had to like rest on their shoulder and like let it fall onto things.
Yeah.
So, and that
was
was
a
the
very
chair.
squeaky
That was the chair.
That was a big fart from Nathan. But yeah, no, of course, like there's all kinds of things like that. Like you could make a sword that was like Sephiroth, but the problem is it would snap when you swung it at something. Which Sephiroth has this 6 foot long Masamune thin blade that's just super long. I say 6 feet long. It's way longer than that. I remember reading somewhere that was 6 feet long, but I mean that thing is taller than Sephiroth, and he holds it out like it's like the length of 3 people, and he throws Cloud off the thing with it. And it's just like.
Yeah.
A sword that long in real life would just snap when you swung it at someone, assuming they blocked with anything or had any armor. Mm-hmm. But fantasy, so.
But sure.
Yeah.
Are we not going to mention how keyblades are horrible weapons?
I never actually played Kingdom Hearts.
It's a key!
Yeah.
It doesn't even have a blade!
Yeah, but it's a weird magical fantasy weapon that, whatever.
At best, you make like the key things sharp so you can like stab with them.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean.
What Yuffie uses. She uses a big, like, what does she use actually?
What?
I don't even remember.
I don't even know who that is.
From Final
Okay.
The circle. She the one with the circle blades?
So like chocolate.
Yeah.
Right.
Man-at-Arms. I think that's the one I saw that did the Buster Sword.
Yeah.
This wasn't Man-at-Arms, I don't think, but I saw another one that did the Warhammer from Game of Thrones, Robert Baratheon's Warhammer, which isn't... I think it's like in one shot briefly. But it was really cool. And then they had this person, she was like a stunt double or MMA fighter or something. Yeah. Anyway, she came in and she tested the hammer on the like those they make the prosthetic like head and upper torsos, and they simulate the organs just to see what kind of damage you would do. Yeah. And it was unreal the kind of damage that the hammer. That's just like a normal sized hammer, let alone like one of the giant.
I mean, the thing
swords.
Is like all the weapons in Game of Thrones are designed off of real weapons that existed and were used.
Yeah. Well, hammers that big weren't really used, but there's this guy I follow, Scala Gladiatoria is the channel.
Yes.
Matt Easton is his name. He's really cool. He goes through like Game of Thrones episodes and fights and stuff, and just critiques them as an expert of medieval stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think in the medieval ages they rarely used hammers more than like 7 or 8 pounds. Usually they're like one-handed.
Yeah,
almost like a big mallet or something.
You wouldn't. The thing with real weapons is you don't actually need that much weight to kill somebody, and with a hammer, what you're just trying to do is you're just trying to make sure you can dent a helmet enough to kill someone.
Right.
So you don't need like the Gendry hammer where he like mashes 2 people's skulls in the most recent season. But those are things that are theoretically usable at least.
Yeah, it's usable, but probably extremely inefficient. Like you would tire yourself out swinging something that heavy. Mm-hmm. Plus, a hammer like that doesn't have if it's that heavy, it doesn't have one of the main benefits of like a sword or smaller weapons that you can use it to parry and you can maneuver it as you need, right? To block blows or whatever you need to do.
It's not very realistic.
Right. But man, it's cool to be carrying a huge chunk of iron with spikes and just crush someone with it. That's kind of why I like Berserk, because like, yeah, that's ridiculous. That sword is huge, but it's like you swinging a truck at people.
Yeah.
It's like you're swinging a truck.
And in the new Berserk series, which is not great, but every time he swings it, it's like a car accident. It's like clang. And there's actually a scene where he's inside his house. He goes to swing at this demon. He swings the sword, and it actually cuts through the ceiling because it's so long. He can't actually swing it above his head. It cuts the ceiling in like splits it in half, and then comes down on the demon. It's incredible.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Very much so, yeah.
But it's cool.
There are a lot of weird weapons in anime and shows, and I remember there was this one sword. I don't even know why it was so special. I don't know. I'm not sure if they ever explained it. But to have the sword, I think this person had to birth it.
Oh,
I think somebody had to give birth to a sword, and while it happened, they just exploded, but the sword was there. The sword was okay. That's all that mattered.
All right, but still die.
Just trade your life for a sword.
Yeah, that's totally what happened. I don't think that was Alano Exorcist. What the hell was it? Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy now.
Yeah, that happens a lot with me.
The rest of the day, I'm gonna be wondering what it was.
Maybe look up exploding sword birth, and maybe it'll come up.
Exploding sword birth. Anyways, it's about the end of the podcast here, so we'll just remind everybody that Extra Life is happening now. So if you are interested, check out our Twitch. It's RT_Nova Scotia. Extra Life is happening now, or probably now. It's from 10 a.m. to 10 a.m., November 4th to 5th, Central Time. It's all for the kids. We're raising money for the Children's Miracle Network Hospital, which is the IWK in Nova Scotia. All money goes to them, and we'll be having a lot of donation incentives and stretch goals, and the wheel, which will be very interesting. So hopefully you all come to watch. Thanks to everyone for listening. This is Miki.
Matthew trying not to die.
And Nathan.